All right. Last time we jumped one chapter on food processing and health. All right. So this week, this is what we're going to see: food processing and health. Okay. So the food processing and health chapter, we have two sections. All right. So we have two sections. We have the food preparation. All right, this is what we're going to see today. And the second one is extrusion technology. Okay? So, what I always advise you guys to do is to read before you come to class. All right? Because you have all the information, like in this booklet. So that when you come here, right, a lot of things are not really strange for you guys. Okay? But before you start, I would like you guys to go to the last page of this chapter. Are you there? The last page of this chapter, it's an assignment that you need to do. So you need to be in a group of 4 to 5 people. If you want to be by yourself, no problem. Alright? But I think it will be better if you have a group of 5 people. And yeah, I think I'm a nice guy. I give you 1 month to do the assignment. So you have so you have until May 30th. So you have, you have the full month to do it. You have a lot of time. Last semester, in the other class, they only had 2 weeks to do this. So, and here you have 5 questions. So it's your responsibility to find a group, right? I guess you know each other. Most of you are in the same department, and as you guys sit always together. And here you have 5 questions. How do you do it? So this article must be free. It's an article that I wrote a couple of years ago. Like I told you, the way I teach, I don't only teach from the books. I only teach from the research that I also do. All right. So this is why on the last exam, you're not going to see the last question on the exam on any book. You're not going to see that. If you want to check, good luck. Okay? So this is why it's important to me. It's important that you think, and I want to see how you think. So this article is the effect of feed moisture and temperature on tannin content. If you don't find it, I'm going to upload this article today on the CTN. Alright? You go to this class page, and you will see the PDF file for this article. I'll probably do it, I have another class after this one. So, you should have this article today. And you have a month to work on this article based on the 5 questions I asked them. If you have some questions, there are things that are confusing, you can come to my office. But notice, the second part of this chapter is on extrusion, right? So, anything I will be talking about in this class, you will have the answer to these questions. Alright? So if you don't miss the class, or if you go to YouTube, many of you don't go to my YouTube channel, but if you go, you will get most of the answers there as well. Right? Because when I will be teaching the extrusion part, you can get the answer. If you miss something in class, no problem. Okay? So, you go to my YouTube page, you can listen to the class again, and you can get the information. Alright? So you have 1 month to do it. Alright? And start making some groups. As usual, I I will stay available for any questions you may have. Okay, okay? All right. Okay, so let us start. The first part of this chapter is on food preparation. Okay? So, what do we have here? We can talk about food preparation, or we can talk about food processing. Basically, we are changing the original form of the food. Alright? If you are cooking carrots, you're cooking something, it means you are changing the natural form of the food. And sometimes, what did we learn? When we talk about enriched food or fortification, specifically enriched food, we say, oh, we lost some nutrient during processing. During what? During the cooking. Alright? So, so what do we have? In food preparation, or if you want food processing, same thing. Okay? So you have what we call the moist heat preparation. I think this pen doesn't like me much, right? So we have two, and the second one is what? Is the dry heat. Dry heat preparation. Now, I put here preparation. You know, you can put cooking, no problem. All right. As you can see on the picture here, when we talk about the moist, we talk about the liquid, mostly like water. Okay. So now you can see, for example, on the picture here, that we have what? We have like simmering, where we have below boiling temperature, but never less than 82 degrees Celsius. We have the poaching between 71 and 82. And we have the boiling, when you boil your pasta, usually over 100 degrees Celsius. You have everything on the picture. So what we have here, moist heat softens food and makes it more tender. Alright? So, but what is the problem? What is the problem with moist? For example, if you are here, you consider moist heat preparation. Alright? So, what will be the problem with moist heat preparation here? For example, if you boil your vegetables. When you boil vegetables, what happens? What do you see that you may not like? All of you guys drink tea, right? So when you put tea in hot water, what happens? Nobody wants to talk to me? You don't drink tea? So what is happening? But oftentimes when we boil the food, the color is changing, isn't it? And then we have some form of extraction. Alright? So, if you put it in a very simple way, here, alright? So you will see, for example, you put your tea bag here, green tea, whatever, this is the dry form, you put it into hot water, and then what happens here? The nutrients are coming out. Okay? What we usually call like phytochemicals. Alright? So we usually have these phytochemicals here, or some form of nutrients. Alright? So these are substances. These are substances that have potential, potential health benefit. Okay? I mean, this is why we drink tea. But of course, it will truly depend, right? It will truly depend the set for coffee. We say, okay, if a woman is pregnant, it may not be the best thing to drink at this time. But you see, we have chemicals coming out, and we can see with the color of the water here. All right. So what else do you have? So the problem, it can also change the flavor, the taste of the food. All right. So during the much heat preparation, it's possible that we lose some nutrients. All right. It's possible that we lose some nutrients. So for example, if the problem here is we are losing I'm talking about the much heat preparation. We use, for example, boiling 100 degrees Celsius. All right? If we are losing nutrients, what will be the solution? For example, if you need to cook your carrots, you need to cook any form of vegetables, and you are losing the nutrients, what will be the best way to keep these nutrients, for example? What is the best way to cook vegetables? Look at your study guide. Look at your study guide, question number 2. This is what I ask you guys to do, and this is very, very important. Don't just study and memorize stuff, right? Go through the study guide. The things that I teach here, some of the questions that I ask are in the study guide, and that's the best way you go along with it. All right. So, which question do we have on the study guide? What does it say? So, it says here, cooked vegetables are best when, because this method helps to retain texture, color, taste, and nutrient. So basically this question means, what is the best way to cook vegetables? Is it by boiling, scalding, simmering, or steaming? Which method do you think is the best here? Steaming, right? So we know in this case, all right, so I have one of my favorite pots that is like this. So you have basically, the water here, all right, well, the heat is going, but you have your potatoes or whatever, you actually keeping more of your nutrient. You don't lose that much compared to if it's actually boiling inside the water. Okay? All right. So now let's look at the dry heat preparation here. So here you have an example of what? Oven. But sometimes the microwave can be both of them. All right. So in dry heat preparation, what do we have? The heat is transferred by the air. All right. It's also transferred by radiation, fat, or some, with some metals as well. Okay. So you must have it on your book as well. So the example is what? Baking, roasting, broiling, grilling. This is examples of dry heat preparation. Okay. So here we are using higher temperature than in much heat. You can go to 200 degrees Celsius, 300, sometimes 400 and more when you are doing, for example, some barbecue. All right. So now I would like to talk about how do we measure the ingredients. If you measure things like powder or any type of solid, it's kind of a straightforward, pretty easy. But the question I would like to ask here is how do you measure, all right? How do you measure liquids? how do you measure liquids? So here, let's put it this way. Here, for example, I have what? I have water. Here I have maybe mercury here. Okay. Here we have two types of liquids here. All right. So the water is, what we call the wetting is a wetting field, a wetting fluid here. It's a wetting fluid, and this one is the opposite, right? So you're going to see something like this, all right? And here, the structure will be a little bit different. So on the left here, you have the water. Okay, let me put this here already. Eva. Okay. So this line here is called the meniscus. So how do we measure it? Meniscus or curving, just like a curving line. Curving line where you kind of like, you use a cup and you put your water like in a cup. Sometimes you use, for those who are wearing lens, you use, it looks a little bit like that. So here, which part should you read? All right. So you have your measurements here. You have your units here. The same here. So if the question is asked of you, I give you these two figures, all right? So where will you read your value? For water, all right? For water, you must read it here, okay? You must read it here at the bottom here, okay? This is where you actually reading your value. But very important, don't read it from the top. Basically, it has to be almost on the same level. So if you are in the laboratory and you have your cup here, your eyes cannot read, looking down. Basically, you have to go all the way down to be on the same level. Okay? So here, so you have the meniscus here, which is the deep, right, in the top of the liquid. And if you need to read other form of liquids like mercury, it depends on the shape that you're going to see. All right. So the shape here, as you can see, all right, this shape is what? This one is a convex one. It's like I say, your lens. You have concave, you have convex one. This one you must read from here, right? This is where you read your unit for a different liquid. So basically the shape of the liquid will tell you basically where you should read your unit. Okay? So this is very important. If I give you the figure, you have to know, okay, this is actually the units where I should be reading, depending on what you have. All right. So now let's go to the seasoning and the flavoring. The seasoning and the flavoring, you can read the whole thing, right? But I just want to focus, because we talk about food and health, I would like to focus on the salt part here. And on the next page, you have the function of salt in the food. Hey, you can read it on your own. But I would like to focus on the health part related to the salt here. All right. And on your paper here, we have the different varieties. All right. And the one that we would like to talk today is about the table salt. And remember in chapter 1, we mentioned food habits, and we also talk about an important element of food habits. We were talking about culture, and we talk about religion. Okay? So, and you will see that if you talk about culture and some type of food habits, if you go to some countries, for example, if you go to Canada in some restaurants, you already have the table salt there, right? It's why we call it table salt. It's already on the table, all right? So that will lead us to actually be tempted to eat a little bit more salt than we need. Let's think about the health now. Here, what do we say? Table salt, refined rock salt that is often fortified with iodine and contains additives to prevent caking. So, remember we checked it out on the last chapter when we talk about the relationship between salt and health, all right? Last time, we have here iodine. Why do we have iodine in the salt in this case? Anybody remembers? Why do we need iodine in this salt? To prevent what? Goiter, all right? So, yeah, we use salt for seasoning, which is good. Now, we also have it to prevent goiter in this case. But now, we have a new challenge when we mention the problem of high blood pressure. All right? And high blood pressure, one of the factors is what? Excess consumption of salt. And we talk about the salt daily value, or in some cases, the daily recommended intake, how much salt we should eat every day. So if you look at your picture, look at your next picture, you're going to see something interesting on this picture. All right? We in this picture we have here two very important electrolytes. So on this picture, you have two important electrolytes here, and you have. So this is what you have. Let's look at the first food. What is the first food we see on the picture? Milk, right? So we see the milk. And the two electrolytes that you have, what are the two electrolytes that you have? We have what? Potassium and sodium. So you look at it here. I just changed the way your picture is made here. So here we have the potassium here, and here we have our sodium here. So here is what? Unprocessed, meaning the food in its original form. Okay? We haven't changed this food. We did not change the food. Remember, we talk about food processing, we talk about cooking. So it means I'm changing the food. Alright? So, and here we have the milk, unprocessed, and here we have these you know, chocolate put in here. This one is what? This one is processed. The food is being transformed a little bit. All right? And when we change it, what is happening here? What is happening here is the sodium content is now much higher, and the potassium level is much smaller. All right. So let's talk about the role. Let's talk about the role of potassium and sodium in our diet. Okay? So what I told you is that potassium and sodium are electrolytes that we need in the body, right? We need it for the body to function. All right? So let me run it here. So we have potassium and sodium. So they are needed for the body to function normally. And help maintain fluid and what? And blood volume. In the body. Okay? So how do a person get high blood pressure? If we have to only talk about the diet, how do the person get blood pressure, high blood pressure? We all have blood pressure, but how do we get high blood pressure? Just by focusing on the diet. You can check one of the articles that also wrote on blood pressure, but here, you know, one of the factors, and we will see that on chapter 6, if you go through the syllabus, when we will see chapter 6, I will talk about blood pressure again, and it's during that chapter that I will give you the numbers that you have to remember, right? If you go to the hospital, which number gives you high blood pressure, all right? So, you know, one of the reasons that you're going to see there, we talk about the problem of obesity that is associated with blood pressure. We can also talk about what? Oh, it's hereditary, right? If one of your parents has high blood pressure, there is a chance that you get blood pressure as well. But for this case, right, we focus on the diet. All right? Yeah, we can talk about the diet. You know, so let's focus on the diet for this chapter. How do somebody, considering the role of potassium and sodium in our diet, three keywords here: potassium, sodium, and our diet. And the relationship is what? The relationship is high blood pressure. All right. So, if you look at it based on the picture that you have and that I just drawn minutes ago, how can we get high blood pressure? Simple, right? What do you do? A person who's going to eat, right? You just need to have. These pens are not happy with me today. Maybe they don't want me to teach, isn't it? Look, so if you have, so this is what we do. I'm only talking about the diet. Okay, guys, I'm going to talk about the diet here. So, in your diet, what did we learn a couple of weeks ago? We talked about the nutrition fact level. Okay, you also saw that on your last exam. On the exam, I gave you the nutrition fact level. You can see the presence of sodium or the absence of potassium. How much potassium do we have? What is the daily value of potassium? Everybody has the daily value, right? The daily value table. So it gives us an indication. So we look at the diet of the person, we just say, wow, the content of sodium is higher. How do we know? We know based on what we eat, okay? And the potassium is what? Much lower, okay? So, consequently, what do you have? A risk of high blood pressure. Okay? So, you see, we'll study that a little bit more when we look at the association of obesity, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease, and things like that. Alright? So, we look at potassium, sodium, and high blood pressure. So then, this is a problem. You look at a person's diet, and then you say, oh, a lot of sodium in the person's diet. Remember, the nutrition assessment is what? How do we know? Nutrition assessment, we have the ABCD. And I told you, for example, in my research, I only focus, for example, on A and D. So we take the anthropometric measurement, so we have the body mass index, and the body mass index here is over 30. Oh, we know this person is obese, it's already a risk factor. That's how you think. Okay? You already have one element. But what are the reasons of obesity? And we look at that maybe next week or the week after. We look at obesity and high blood pressure. Okay? So we look at the diet of the person. So we look at the seven element. I'm not going biochemical and clinical, right? So I go to the dietary assessment. Dietary assessment, oh, what did you eat yesterday? Or I can give a list of food and just see how frequently you should eat this food. Okay? So, and when you look at what she ate, we just saw, wow, sodium, based on, everything that she ate. Oh, wow, she has around 3,000 milligrams of sodium here. All right? This is more than the daily value. What is the daily value for sodium? Yes. Wow, this is only like, right? A warning. Okay? And we look at potassium, right? Daily value for potassium. Do you have your table? Check your table. We have the daily value for potassium. I don't have it in my head. Anybody has the table, daily value? You should have the tables, right? What is the daily value for potassium? Wow, those tables, they are they that? Oh, we should have them every day now, right? Potassium, daily value, how much is it? Yeah. 2,000? 3,000. Okay. 3,500. What? Milligram? Okay, milligram. Alright? So this is a daily value. But when we look at what the person ate, we see for example, 200 milligram. Or even, if you remember the exam, if you look at Kim Hannah's what she ate, do we have any vegetables there? No vegetables. Where do we get potassium from? We get the potassium mostly from our vegetables. Okay? So we look at what she ate. And we just realize, oh my God, 0 gram of potassium. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. Now, because every time we did a lot of research, we investigated the population. Now we know that in dietary assessment, most people they don't eat potassium. They don't eat a lot of vegetables, right? So what does it mean? It means no potassium. Okay? Now, that's the way you think. You look at the dietary assessment, a lot of sodium, no potassium. What does it mean? Risk of high blood pressure or hypertension. Okay? Because you have two factors. You have obesity factor, and you have like these dietary factor here that are actually helping you to make the assessment. So, like I always say, problem, the cause of the problem, and the solution. So what will be the solution here? What will be the solution in this case? Yeah. What do we learn? Solution. Hypertension. Huh? I don't hear you. Fortify food. Okay, this is one option. Fortify in what? It's an option. But is it enough? He say fortify in potassium. Yeah, we can do it because we learned all this cooking. But is fortification in potassium really solving the problem of obesity? Maybe not. Right? But it's actually a good option. Alright? So, but let us keep thinking here. We have this scenario. We check the person's diet. The person is obese, a lot of sodium, not much potassium. What will be the solution? Yeah? Yeah, so we have to, the solution is a diet change. Alright? So this is the way we think when you answer, right, to me, just like, okay, number one is, I think the person must change the diet, right? And then you say, okay, but how do we change the diet? Okay, maybe, vegan more, vegan-like diet, more vegetables, because I get a lot of potassium from that. Okay? But how do we call that diet? How do we call the diet? What do we learn? Exactly. So we learn this. We call it the DASH, the DASH diet plan. The DASH diet plan, what did we learn about it? The D is for dietary approach to stop hypertension. That's the way you think. This should not be very difficult. We not study medicine. We're just like, okay, you have high blood pressure, we need to give you medication. Yeah, it's an option. Okay? But for this class, we focus on the dietary solution. What did you learn? Look at the question, I think question 3 on the exam. What are the advantages of a vegetarian diet? What did we learn? Because the vegetarian diet is known to actually help people reduce, lose their weight, right? It helps reduce risk of high blood pressure. And when we talk about weight and high blood pressure, remember that picture, and we'll see that again maybe next week. Everybody must know this picture. We talk about it, the problem of obesity, right? And then here we have high blood pressure. And in chapter 8, so chapter 6, we'll talk about obesity and high blood pressure. And in chapter 8, we talk about obesity and cardiovascular disease. Okay? So, when you look at it here, you have, because of high blood pressure is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease or heart disease. So, here, we learned about it, so now we have here heart disease. Okay? And here we have what? Stroke. So the presence of potassium by changing our diet is actually helping the person right, to recover our health. Okay? And if you have time, maybe I'll show that video of people who had diabetes before, people who had heart disease before, okay, and who recover. And this is mostly because of what? And I keep showing that to you guys. We see that on chapter 8 when we talk about the problem of cardiovascular disease here. Okay, so you have to remember that. So in this class, I don't necessarily go into some of these details when we talk about the lipids and the type of fat, but I mentioned that to you guys when we talk about saturated fat. Okay, saturated fat coming mostly from where? Animal products. Okay, unsaturated fat getting from where? Like vegetables and things like that, which is good for us. Okay. So, now we look at it, the blood flow, and here, if you had 3 centimeters, here it's reduced to maybe 1. It's like a lot of cars on the street. It's difficult to flow, it's not good. And then, heart attack, or we may have around the brain a problem of stroke. And this is also associated with what? High blood pressure. Okay? You will read, if you read the article that I wrote a couple of years ago about foreigners living in Korea, that the foreigners who are overweight, obese, they are 4 times likely to have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is a risk for cardiovascular disease. Heart disease in Korea is now the #2 killer in the country. So this is serious, okay? So even when we eat kimchi, kimchi is good, vegetables, but we also look at the way things are cooked. The jjigae, how much salt do we have there, So all of these elements are the one contributing slowly to the deterioration of our health in the country. Okay? So keep that in mind. We look at potassium, sodium, and high blood pressure, all right? So it means that the more sodium a person consumes, the higher their blood pressure risk. All right? And also, what does it mean? Increasing potassium intake, right? So what do we do? Now we change. We say, I must increase potassium intake. What does it mean? Increasing potassium intake means that, maybe potassium is actually helping to reduce the risk of what? High blood pressure and heart disease. That's the way you think. And this is what is important for me in this class. How you think. If your reasoning is logical, I give you the points that you need. But the approach has to be scientific, methodological, You justify everything that you are writing. Alright? Even if maybe the final answer is not the same that I have, but if it's what your approach is logical, I usually give the point when the approach is logical. It's the same way when I talk to you about energy required, how much time it needs to lose weight. We have different answers. But when your approach is logical, I give you the point. Simple as that. You don't need to have the same exact answer that I have. But if your thinking is logical, and I can follow the steps, then I say, okay. If you don't, for example, you don't say dash diet, I'm okay. If you don't say dash diet, I'm okay. But if you can show me that, okay, we have a problem here, then the solution will be to change the diet, even if you don't know the name, but you say that, okay, we need to reduce maybe saturated fat consumption and reduce sodium consumption by increasing potassium consumption, where do we get the potassium? We get it through vegetables and things like that. You did not say DASH diet, but it's the right answer. You know? It's the right answer. And this is very important because, you know, some people see me, oh, my friend wrote this, my friend wrote this, and the answer is different. No, it's the logic. Because we study in English, sometimes you can forget a word, okay? But if you forget the word DASH diet, but you say that, hey, we are cutting the sodium and eat more vegetables because vegetables have a lot of potassium. Yeah, I give you the point for that one, right? So, lowering blood pressure reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke. So this is what we're doing. We increase potassium. Because I increase potassium, two things happen. Two things happen here. You know, the increase of potassium reduces what? It's going to reduce what? The risk of high blood pressure and what? Heart disease. This one will be in chapter 6, and this one we'll check it on chapter 8. That's what I expect you guys to do. You look at the diet of the person. You know, this is not so complicated. All right, this is not so complicated. So you can see that on the picture that you have. You have the meat, the roast beef. You can see that the roast beef, right? You know, we have the potassium, the sodium level is very low. But if you eat the cheap beef one, the sodium content is actually going much higher. All right. You can also see that, for example, the oats, the raw oats, almost no sodium. But when we're eating the cereals, the sodium content is much higher. This is not, you know, very difficult now because we know how to read food labels now. We also know that processed food, the sodium content, tend to always go a little bit higher. All right? So, based on these two elements, all right, we know how to attack the problem. And in this case, when you have this problem, how do you know? So, for example, when you look at it, the problem of high blood pressure, there are different factors. There are factors you cannot change. For example, your family. You cannot change your dad, you cannot change your mom. Okay? These are not things you can change. Okay? You cannot change that. But there are other factors, such as your diet, that is associated with, for example, the problem of obesity. Okay? Yeah, we talk a little bit about the problem of obesity as well, all right? Because, you know, when we look at the reasons of obesity, we may talk about people who are maybe overeating, but I think mostly about the kind of food that we are eating. There are people who don't eat a lot, but the food that they eat, right, have like a lot of saturated fat. Okay? So, but there's an element of obesity too, right? We talk also, family also comes here, right? Sometimes, you know, there are some genes that are associated with, there are some genes that are also associated with this, all right? But this is why the food habit is very important. And this is why you saw in the exam, we draw that picture of the social economical status, you know, income, and the relationship maybe at the end with your, you know, we talk about your food habit, and your food habit with what? Problem of obesity, high blood pressure. All right? So, now, when we look at the diet, from the diet, we can now tell, oh, maybe you need to change your diet. Okay? In the nutrition class, we will talk about mostly about women's health, pregnancy, lactation, how the baby grows, and things like that. Not necessarily in this class. But the problem of diet choices is always the same. So, this is what I want to finish with you guys today. So please check the study guide as well. The second part of the chapter, exclusion cooking, I will start it when next week, right? Next week Tuesday. So read it before you come to school, all right? And try to do the study guide, all right? You have the first part of the study guide. The first part of the study guide, you have 8 questions, okay? So look at these study guides, try to do them, we'll correct them. I think it's pretty easy. And number 2, just keep in mind how you solve the problem. There's a question here on seasoning and flavoring. How can we reduce sodium intake? You have the answers here. How do we reduce sodium intake? Because here the problem is, oh, this person is eating a lot of sodium. The number 1 here, cut back on major sodium sources such as processed food. Alright? This person is eating too much sodium, so how do we cut it? A, we reduce the consumption of processed food. Number 2, do not add salt during food preparation. Number 2, especially if a person has a problem with high blood pressure. Why? I mean, if you're cooking these sausages, they already have a lot of salt on it, right? You can see by the picture, right? So we don't need to add more salt when we cook. Number 3, remove the salt shaker from the table. Actually, Korea is pretty good at it. In most Korean restaurants, you don't really see like the salt on the table. But if you go to Camp Walker, some restaurant there, you're gonna see salt and ketchup on the table. How can you reduce sodium intake? Cut back on sodium sources such as processed food. Do not add salt during food preparation. Remove the salt shaker from the table. All right, and remember. The dietary approach to stop hypertension, DASH diet, is the one that we are using right now, reducing the consumption of salt. Okay guys, I'm going to stop here for today. If there are people who want to see me after class for whatever questions you have, either for today, you can come. If you want to talk about the exam again, you can come, and then we can discuss about this. Okay? Have a nice day, have a nice weekend, and I'll see you next week. Yeah.
Do we have to presentation?
No. Just answer to the questions.